Hi everybody, it's Gina Range here from the Range Clinic. Good afternoon. I know it's Tuesday and not Monday, but I never quite got round to doing it yesterday. We had quite a lot going on with the bank holiday, but excuse me. Here we are again. So I'm kneeling down on the floor because today I'm going to be talking to you about feet. Oh, my goodness me. So I know so far I have spoken to you mostly about running. And this is going to be a talk about running, but don't switch off if you're not a runner, because we're going to be talking about feet, about bunions, about flat feet, about lack of arches. They're so important to the body, and we're going to tell you how to improve them. So I know lots of you are having a go at running for the first time. It's one of the things we can do, and loads of people have had a go, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to give you a couple of pointers today on running and how to run without injuring yourself. And it all comes down to these feet. So I've got Sid's foot here and we're going to have a little chat about that. So as I say, don't switch off if you're not a runner, because lots of information about foot strength coming up, which is really, really important. So feet, when you're running, when people go out and they run for the first time, most people put on a nice supportive pair of shoes and off they go. They stride out and they just go running. And usually a few months down the line, they're on the phone to us trying to get an injury or a niggle fixed. So the first tip for you is this. When you go out running, keep your stride really short. So what I mean by this is, if I'm running, what a lot of people do when they run, let me get Sid's foot, is they stride out. So here's Sid's hip. You can probably see his hip here. And here's his foot, which is completely the wrong way around. What's going on, Sid? Let's get your leg the right way around. Thank you. And so you end up here, and this heel comes down like this. Okay, here's your heel striking the floor. Now, that's a problem, because when we run, we have quite a lot of force running through our foot. And if that foot isn't dissipated through the foot, it has all these bones for a reason, okay, loads and loads of bones to dissipate force. If we land on our heel, that force is going to run up through our body, and eventually it causes problems, causes shin splints, causes pain in the hip, in the back, in the knee, all over the place. So what we ideally want to do when we land is to land with our foot flat and directly underneath your body. Now, the easiest way to do this without really thinking about it is to make sure that you run with a really short stride. So actually your foot lands straight underneath your hip. Now you're going to feel a bit like a penguin. That's okay. It's totally normal. It doesn't look as odd as it feels. It just feels really weird. So if you are running for the first time, you want to go out and kind of plod along, so your feet kind of plonk, 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 plonk down on the floor. And you're aiming to land kind of mid-foot. So this sort of area. So you kind of want your heel and your toes to hit at the same time. Now, the really, really cool thing about this is that all that force ends up staying in the feet. However, there's a slight problem, because these days we all wear shoes all the time and our feet are actually quite weak. So how many people here have bunions, have actually really flat arches in their feet? And arches are essential whether you're walking, whether you're running. Everyday biomechanics of your body relies on a good arch. So the reason I'm sat down here is I'm going to show you how to strengthen that arch. And I needed to put the camera in a position where you'd be able to see my foot on the floor. So I'm going to show you my foot. How exciting for you. And I'm just going to explain what happens in those bunions that almost everyone gets these days. Actually, it's quite sad. So what happens is, when your foot flattens, when the arch flattens, we get a foot doing this. I don't know if you can see this, where it should be like this. It flattens off. Now what happens then is we put a lot of pressure on this ligament here. There's a ligament here that holds these toes in a normal position, in a correct position. And what happens as that arch drops is that ligament gets a lot of stress on it. And what happens is that starts to happen, obviously over a long period of time. This doesn't happen quickly. And you then end up with toes like this. Can you see those toes? They're almost crossing over. And we have seen people with toes crossing over. It's not great. It's not ideal. Bearing in mind your big toe is there to help you balance. That's one of its main functions in the world. Then you can imagine that if this toe starts twisting over, you know, that's not great for your balance, let alone anything else. The other problem you have is, as that foot drops in, your knee drops in as well. You get a twist on your knee. and that tracks up the body and causes a twist on your pelvis. And that can give you back pain. Okay, so feet are really important. So if you've got a toe, it doesn't even have to be a bunion. A bunion's where you start getting a bony growth here, and it can get really sore, it can get really painful. And as long as you've got some movement in that toe, there's a really good chance you can actually get that back to something a bit more normal and get it less irritated. But it all relies on this arch coming back, because when that arch has gone, the pressure on this big toe is a problem. So we need to get the arch back to take the pressure off this joint here and allow hopefully that toe to start realigning. So that's really quite important, okay? And we want that to realign. We want balance, we want stability, whether you're walking, whether you're running, whether you're 10 or whether you're 80, okay? It's really important. If you're a runner, really, really important, okay? So stabilizing shoes are not ideal if you're running, because they actually stop that foot strengthening. So I'm going to show you what we can do. Really easy ways to do this. And this is my first little top tip. These are bunion toe separators. They're quite cool. I'll bring them up so you can see them. So you can buy them in little packs from anywhere really. They're often in the pharmacy. You can buy them on Amazon for about £3. Or if you don't have any money or you can't do that, get some loo roll, wind it up and make it into a little pack and put it between your big toe and your next toe. So I'm going to show you my feet. Sorry, it is the afternoon. Hopefully you haven't eaten recently, but my feet aren't that bad. Let's be nice about my feet. So here's my foot. I'm going to roll this up for you. Now what I'm hoping you can see, I'm going to go back a bit so you can see. So my big toe, hopefully you can see, it also has, it's slightly twisting. It should be more like here. Okay, so we want a nice gap for my toe. Okay, and this is my weak foot. I think I spoke about this before. And so this foot has a tendency to do that quite a lot. Okay, so that's all down to weakness in the base of my foot. My other foot isn't quite as bad. And I mentioned that on my previous video when I was walking up the stairs really slowly to get my core working. And I found that on one leg I could support it and could balance, and on the other one I couldn't, and that's down to a weak foot. So if you also found that one foot was easier on that really slow walk step challenge I gave you, have a look at your feet. So what I'm going to do is take this toe separator. Can't believe I'm doing this, but never mind. I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's put it in here. So what I'm doing, you see that now. Hopefully you can now see. I'll lift it up for you. There you go. Okay, so that's, get the microphone out of the way, that's what a toe separator does. So it holds that big toe in the right place. Now, that's stage one. So what that means is that now I can strengthen this toe in the right position. There's no point in strengthening my foot with my toe kind of twisted over. That's not useful. That's not going to help the kind of functional strength of my foot. And I'm also not that keen on just wearing them to bed because, you know, yes, it will help stretch them out, but it's not going to strengthen anything. So I really think you need to use them in a functional way. So loads of ways to do this. And I've stolen a ball. Now I have a five-year-old in the house. If you have a young child, you've probably got a ball of some form. If you haven't, you can use a towel. Lots of other things you can do. What I'm going to do is take my ball. I'm going to pop it on the floor. And all I'm going to try and do is kind of pull that ball under my foot. Like this. And actually, it's quite hard. If you've got a tennis ball that are just about as big, I've got a golf ball here. Oh no, that's not a golf ball. That's a bouncy ball thing. Anyway, I'm going to pull that under. So again, it's forcing me to really grip with my feet. There we go. Like this. Now, you can do this with a towel. You can do this really easily with a towel. You put a towel on the floor. I'll use my sock. Why not? But you can just put a towel on the floor. Grab that, put a weight on the end, and you can just pull that towards you if you want to. You can use a towel, you can use a sock, you can use anything that you've got really. Your aim is to be doing this movement with your feet, but with your toe, ideally, where is it? In the correct position, so we get stronger. And this will help. This will help knees. It will help how you walk, whether you're walking or running. It will definitely help you running. It will make you more efficient as a runner. So that's well worth doing. But yeah, any sort of ball. So that's a good place to start. If you're on a towel, that's actually even better because you can grade it, you can graduate it, you can make it harder. So I'm going to use my sock as a towel because I didn't think to bring one in. Silly me. So I'm going to take my towel, this is a towel now, pop it on the floor. Now once I can pull that in really easily, I can take a bottle of water and put it on the end of it. Now I'm making it harder, quite a lot harder. So I have to overload my muscles. I have to work harder to now pull and scrunch that to make it work. And that's super important because in order to get a muscle to adapt, you have to keep overloading it. If you just do the same thing all the time, that muscle will end up actually going, well, this is easy, and actually weakening. It's quite surprising, but they will weaken if you don't overload them. So overload, scrunch it all up, and start getting some strength back into those feet. And what you will notice is your arch will start to reappear, and it does do this. So, you know, don't listen to anyone who says, I've got a weak arch, I can't do anything about it. You can totally do something about it. We see this all the time in the clinic, and we can absolutely get that strength back in the foot and bring the arch back without needing to use orthotics. So, you know, do a little bit of strength work, grab yourselves one of these or a bit of loo roll. If you've been hoarding loo roll, this is the time to use it. Why not? Fantastic. Give it a go. See what you find. Pop some comments on, get in touch if you need some help. If you're struggling with your running, we do a remote gait analysis. We've always done this, but obviously we're definitely doing it now. And we're still having really good effect with all our video appointments. So don't sit there in pain. We can fix it. Don't sit there in pain. Give us a buzz and we'll sort you out. I hope you're all having an okay time. At least the sun's come out again. Well, it certainly has where we are. And I'll speak to you all again next week. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.